Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the stream. Just hanging out here in my multi-million-dollar studio up here on the top of New York City. No big deal. It's completely real. It's definitely not a green screen. How's everyone doing today? What's up, Jalen? Raul? Everybody on Twitch, Nova, Barkster. Welcome in. Welcome in to the channels. We're going to hop right into it today. See what's going on in the markets. If you have any questions, want me to pull up individual tickers, make sure to post them into the chat themselves so we can look it up. What's up, Exotic? What's up, Felix, Josh? Good morning, everybody, and welcome. All right. Oh, man, my swing trading accounts did great today. My day trading account, not so much. Did not do good there. I'm going to fix my mic. Ugh. What is going on here? All right, test. There we go. That should do it. We have an echo? I don't know. I can't hear myself. What's up, TSI? Yeah, I'm not in New York, unfortunately. I do love going. I was there not too long ago. All right, let's take a look here. The market did sell off a bit today. We saw quite a bit of volatility at the open. That's where I got caught up in. This big old candle over here. This is SPY on the 15-minute time frame. Today we came into and around the lower daily expected move, which was roughly about 625.76. Didn't quite get down there, and since that kind of big expansion of a candle there, we have just been kind of contracting, slowly going up, going sideways here recently. See if we can get some sort of a break higher and or a break lower in the very near future. If I look at market net flow, it's been bearish for the bulk of the trading session, and then you could start to see it start to level out here as SPY is not really moving, so we lost convergence. And then we have the premium, the cumulative net premium for puts has been slightly going down, while the cumulative net premiums for calls, they've been closing in on that divergence here, which could be potentially a more bullish sign. But right now it's really just a choppy sign, and we've been seeing that kind of here in the market. If we take a look here at the ES on the left-hand side of my screen, you can see that we are really just floating around that 6,300s. And we've been kind of just stuck at 6,300, not going really breaking from it to the upside or breaking to it really from the downside. We've been just kind of pinned in and around that level. NQ over here is breaking its daily volume weighted average price, or it's kind of just been ping-ponging around on that daily volume weighted average price in that very tight range so far. So a lot of chop overall, but we did get some really nice early morning volatility. So we'll see if that kind of wants to enter back in. As far as the tick readings go, we've been steady throughout the day with tick readings, not any sort of extreme reading whatsoever. So, favorite perma bull? That's crazy. With the bearish video last night. That's funny. Yeah, it kind of was a bearish video last night. I don't know. It was, I guess the thumbnail maybe in the title maybe was bearish, but I didn't really think of it too bearish overall. I just thought it was more probably time for the risk to the up, or the reward to the upside was minimizing. Reward was more to the downside, and we're seeing a little bit of that play out today, but we're still holding above the gamma flip line down here. Actually, that may have updated. Let me check. 62.18, so it did update. Let me change that up here. So we got our gamma flip line at 62.18 as it stands. And we're still well above that, so this is where dealers look to buy the dip, sell a rip still. We're still above the rising 5-day moving average, not by much, but we're still above an inclining 5-day moving average as it stands right now. So overall, I mean, this is still bulls are in control, but we're just on the day seeing some pretty bearish flows. And you might be thinking like, well, what's the driving factor? I don't know. I don't really know if we need the narrative here, but NVIDIA was a huge play out of the gate, and you can see that here breaking through its daily implied move, basically 2 standard deviations in the early morning session, and that is going to have an effect clearly on the market. And if we take this a step further, it all makes sense to me. It makes complete sense, because if you look at the monthly expected move for NVIDIA, sorry, let me change this up. I gotta adjust that down to 80. If you look at the monthly expected move for NVIDIA, you can see over here that we did tag into its monthly implied move, and we kind of just came off a bit. So, this is a huge rip in NVIDIA for the month, and now we're just backing off a little bit. A lot of names have been on these kind of monster ramp ups. What's up, JTI? Last night's video reminded me of the February video. Healthcare, utilities, read top performing sectors today. Yeah, we can take a look at some of the higher performing sectors today. Yeah, healthcare is up there. I'm not, like, no surprise, right? This has been a big laggard, so you're starting to see this one bounce back a little bit. Real estate also has been, so yeah, my day trading, like I said, I didn't do all too good, but my swing trading today, holy moly, like, they are doing great today. Like, wonderful. Because I've been kind of preparing, I've been getting a little bit less into tech and then more into some of these rotational type names. So let me see here if I'm trying to authorize this and pull it up. We can go over some of the names that I have, and then we'll go over some of the other individual names. Now, this doesn't mean to say that any of the other tech stuff is bearish, but it's definitely due for some sort of a, consolidation at minimum, right? And I do want to call out Roblox because somebody had mentioned Roblox. I did, like I said on the last live stream, I said I'd probably short it back through 125 because I left a position on, I don't know where, but I was basically in and out like random shorts, and I did play it into the lower, back to the upper monthly implied move today, and I got the bulk of that position out from 125 down to around 119. So that was a pretty nice short intraday for just not my day trading account for futures, but my swing trading account. I did play through that of what I did say and mention. So I just want to revisit that for some people that might be interested in that trade. But I still actually have some of the position on, but I just backed through it on 125 pretty nicely. So it was a small position, and then through 125 was decent size. Now I'm back to a very small position. Okay. Adobe breakout call. Yeah, let's see. What's Adobe doing? I can't remember what we talked about on Adobe. Was it just really tight price action is kind of what we were looking at? I do want to call out now that you mentioned that, because this was, okay, so this is at the lower implied move. This has seen a little bit of a bounce. Oscar Health, this one kind of got my attention because it's one of those popular kind of names. And price action is getting pretty tight, and this also almost hit a 2 standard deviation move. So I did trade a little bit of this one today and got out of some of it, so it's up slightly. No, this is not even a full-size position here anymore. But I guess they announced some preliminary earnings or something like that. Yeah, preliminary Q2, which I guess the market didn't like at first, and then it kind of turned around. Hey, what's up, comrade? I'm live, dude. I know you asked me. I said, let's do it. Let's go live. We're going to do it live. Okay. So doing good on my swing trading accounts. My day trading accounts, not well, but that is okay. Let's go look at market net flow. Market net flow. You can see this still, the divergence is kind of coming together here, which is a positive sign for the market to just chop around and maybe the bottoms, in for the day. That's what that would kind of tell me. If this wants to start crossing back through the red, maybe that gives us some more juice, and then all of a sudden the market comes back up to maybe the week to date volume weighted average price, which I think that is possible, right? Hey, what's up, Sneaky Man? We're doing it live. Okay. Let us pull up some additional names. So, all right, drop your names in the chat if you want me to pull up individual names. I'm going to, I said I was going to go through some of my names that I have on. Okay, so the last time I was live, we talked about utilities, right? We did utilities. I did exit the bulk of the position out, but man, look at this thing. Boom. So we talked about it whenever that last live session was. It went down I think the next day, and then bam, 4 days up. Boom, 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 coming up into the upper monthly implied move. Killer. killer breakout here in utilities. In last night's video, we talked about what happens when you start to see relative strength in utilities versus the S&P 500 and how volatility, it doesn't necessarily mean volatility is going to show up, but there's a much more high likelihood of volatility appearing its little face if you start to see utilities outperform the S&P 500 and even sectors like energy too outperforming the S&P 500. You can see volatility kind of creep its face back in when you see these type of sectors outperform. TLT, I did take this position down here at the monthly implied move, and I basically got out of it this day, but more towards the highs, and we're up again today. I think I'm fully out of that. Yeah, I did exit out of the position, but nice little bounce there in TLT, which means that TNX, CGI, right, blah, 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 is down today. It's coming off a little bit more. Hallelujah, so great. What's the dollar doing? Dollar's coming off today, so that's not necessarily a bearish sign. We'll see what's gold doing. How is gold responding to this? Gold breaking out further, kind of through this contraction, still getting some continuation, having its upper implied move at about 34.90 right there. And last month it did tag it pretty much to precision, and it did reject it, and then also came down to the lower the prior. So it's been really respecting those monthly implied moves for the last 2 months. Still trailing real from the last stream. Nice. Oh man, bummer, dude. Good job. Good job. My position was kind of small, and I was cleaning up a little bit, so I did exit out. Stupid move. Nice. You know what another retail name has been doing good was Byon, BYON. This thing really ripped higher, well outside of its implied move. I think there was some news around it driving it from Marcus Lemonis. So that one really took off. BTDR was the other name that we talked about on the last live stream. I am up on that position, like 4%. I did exit out some on this prior day. So it's a smaller position, but this thing is still holding up rather well. It's just kind of butting its head at the upper implied move, which is fine. That's okay. It can still break it. The 200-day is sloping up here too, and it's overall pretty tight little pattern. I don't know really much about this stock. It's something to do with blockchain. So if Bitcoin wants to kind of make its move, which it's doing good. Oops, Bito. Like take a look at Bito, right? Bito, it's just flagging out right over here. Is this Yeah, Bitcoin. I mean, this looks it looks good, right? We'll take a look at Bitcoin futures. Maybe it's a little bit cleaner picture. Yeah, okay. So Bitcoin futures, right? We're still on that technical buy signal. But overall, I mean, what's Bitcoin doing, right? We were down the other day. It's just flagging after a breakout. After a big breakout too, I should say. Looks good. I mean, it really does look good. So if it breaks down, you know where you're wrong, right? It starts coming in hard and fast, but overall, I mean, it looks good, right? Apple is up 50 basis points. That's one of the only mega names that are up other than, I think, Tesla. This is one that we talked about how we can potentially see some rotation into. I wouldn't really call this much of a rotation, but it is up. That's, helping. I think that's the only bigger tech stock that I have. It is. Okay. What's the difference between IBIT, Bito, etc.? I don't even know. I haven't looked really into I just kind of remember. Oh, there we go, IBIT. Yeah, I think that's the one that I meant to type in, and then I just typed in Bito. What is Bito? ProShares Bitcoin ETF. Yeah, I don't know. I like the look of IBIT better. It looks more like Bitcoin. So I would probably just focus on IBIT. I just got that one confused. Oh, thanks for calling that out. Siri, ARK, SEDG, K. Okay, we got some good names coming in. We'll pull up all these names, and then we'll go through some more of the ones that I have on. I forgot that I have a trade on too. Oops. Forgot that I have a trade on. Man, it's not doing good. This is what happens when I go live. We'll do it live. That's fine, whatever. Okay. Let's pull up some of these individual names. Lululemon. Let me go scroll back here. Okay, we'll go Lululemon. We'll walk down this list. Yeah, Lululemon, I mean, it's pretty darn weak right now, right? So yeah, you might see the eventual pop up higher, but I mean, this selling was pretty dramatic over here. That was actually that's what we were watching, I think, for that trend break, and then it led to a pop, and then basically came down to another matching low, slightly higher. Uh, I don't know. It's this is a tough one. I wouldn't like even on the it just the selling volume is kind of large, and now volume's drying up and it's sitting here at lows. Ugh. All right, great. If I was to trade this, how the way that I go about trading some of these names, for a shorter time frame, is looking at stuff like this, how it was basically, very dramatic selling on the steep trend line. Then you put in a little hammer candle, you can play through it and play a little bit of a bounce trailing it up. But then here, it's like coming to retest these lows over here. It's near its lower monthly. Yeah, I mean, yeah, for sure. You can potentially catch a little bit of a bounce, but also, you saw a bounce here and it led to lower lows. You saw a bounce here and it's low, come into that low. You saw this low, and then it bounced and it came down and made a new low. So there's a series of lower highs, lower lows in this name. I would, and you got it. So with that being the context, you also have to be very aware that your position, the way that you approach the position, has to have that in its context, right? Like I wouldn't make a huge investment into Lululemon based off of this chart, right? Because it's too much of a risk. If I was doing a shorter term trade, then maybe I would look at like, hey, let's get back above the 5-day moving average, see if it flattens out, and then sets back up, tightens up, and then you could play like a tighter risk to reward, and then maybe you can catch something that way. That would make a little bit more sense for me. Circle, CRCL. I like Circle. I'm actually interested in Circle. I was interested over here, and then I missed it, and then it popped up to the upper monthly. So yeah, it's coming back in right now. I think that there's opportunities in here because you are seeing a series of higher highs and higher lows. You did just put in your first like lower high, officially over here. But yeah, I think that there is some opportunities in names like this. We're just dealing with a little bit of a brunt of the selling. Today's selling is rather furious. Darn near 2 standard deviation move here. Yeah, that would be a 2 standard deviation move. I mean, this is kind of like that Oscar, right? Oscar was like a huge seller from the daily perspective, like this big gap down, crack through, monthly, multiple standard deviation move. So I think that there's opportunities in playing bounces in these things. So if I was to play like a fade type of bounce, first off, it just kind of consolidated and broke down here and is breaking through its kind of point of control. So I would be more focused in on if we can come back down to like maybe 185, 182, maybe around here, and then trying to see if I can play like a shorter term bounce and then just take advantage of the sell side activity, play it for a little bounce. But overall, it's in an expansionary move. So when this expands, I like the contraction. So that's why I was looking at it over here, because you have this tight contraction right over here, and it's within a larger flag pattern. So you put 2 to 2 together, you got a bullish continuation pattern that's bigger. Then you get price action contracting. That offers up the good risk to a potentially good reward. So that played out great. Now, when you have price action falling like this, you can look into fade trades. But when you fade trade, once again, if you're buying selling pressure, you can't go too big, too fast, too heavy, because this thing could drop, right? So you have to do it really small and quite aggressive on the sell side of it until we start to see contraction again and you could play back through. So it's all about just strategy on certain types of environments for these names. Intel, Grab, and PayPal. Oh yeah, INTC look really good. Yeah, Intel looks great. I like the look of Intel. I like yeah, this was on the tight list too. So I see big volume there, big volume there, big volume there. You got a big volume bar here, big volume bars over here. Green, big green, right? Big green, right? So you're seeing pockets of good volume and prices kind of just going sideways. But let me remind you, we're now back above a 200-day moving average right now, and it's flattening out. The longer we stay up here, the more it turns around. Now you do have earnings, which, I can't execute a full-size position into earnings. So what you do You could look at, when is earnings? 724. Okay, so we'll go here. Just looking at basically a $2 expected move. All right, a $2 expected move. That's, that could bring us right up to the monthly. That could bring us over the monthly implied move. That's like 9-10%. And we'll see what it looks like then when it comes closer to time. But what I do like here is you have the move up higher, the contraction, then you have a breakout on big volume, and now it's getting tight again. And it's doing that into earnings. So if I'm not going to do a new position, I would like to see earnings go like this. Boom. And see a nice big green day, and then follow through, and then kind of come in, and then try to play some sort of a, break through back up. Right? So I guess some example, like, right, Disney did this, or was it Disney? I can't remember. I don't think it was Disney. Kind of, right? So you had earnings over here, and then it followed through, came in, boom, we followed through. This one has earnings. This one's also tightening up right over here too. Disney looks good, but there's another name that I was kind of trying to think through on that. Was it Starbucks? Nah, it wasn't Starbucks. I can't remember. So yeah, Intel looks pretty good. It's just you have to deal with earnings. Grab looked pretty good too. This one was on the tight list over here. We broke out. You have earnings around the corner, or you're pulling up to the upper implied move. All right, so it looks pretty good overall. That's for sure. And it's like kind of butting its head up in this 550, 570 area over here where we saw prior kind of a restriction. And if you look at the larger time frame, look at this thing. You're in a stage 2 markup right here. You have the averages starting to incline, MACD starting to turn up. After obviously your decline phase, then your accumulation phase. Now we're starting to turn up here and get some movement. So this could be a big player as well. Kind of undercover. I mean, it's kind of a popular name, right? It's kind of a popular name. PayPal, Nike, PayPal. Oh yeah, Nike. Nike was that. I think Nike was the example that I was going for earlier there. PayPal, we're butting our head up in the 200-day. So you got earnings right around the corner. It's not like high on my radar right now. Let's see what earnings brings. Not much to say there. Now Nike was one that we've been watching for a while. This is a perfect example of what I meant earlier, where you see the earnings move, boom, it's nice and powerful. You get some follow through. It comes in a little bit, okay, and then you see the breakout, and you can play the breakout if you missed it. Now we're still above, but it's still a declining 200-day moving average. So what I would love to see here is price to kind of just doodle around for a while, and then the 200-day to start flattening out and start to turn back up. And then price action to get tighter. Now, I don't know if that's going to happen or if it's going to go like this. It's going to turn up and then it's going to do something like that, or break down. I don't know. But what I do like is that, it's holding above it right now, and I want to see it hold, and I want to see it continue to hold, and I want to see this start to flatten out, because then you all of a sudden have a nice contraction pattern or a base that can set us for a move to 90, maybe even higher. So overall, if you're in it and you caught it at these earlier levels when we were talking about it, you don't really have to worry too much unless if we see some significant breakdowns. But you might have to deal with some base building. Overall, looks good. Overall, looks good in this current context, in this window, but it still needs some work to do, that's for sure. Chinese stocks have been doing good. Baidu, right? It's up at its upper monthly implied move. We're just above its flattening 200-day. Overall, it's been kind of going sideways and choppy, right? So when things contract, it opens up the door for nicer moves. KWeb was one of the ones that we discussed that, we saw the breakout of this contraction pattern, and you're getting some follow through. So China names have been doing good. I think DIY was one that I've been kind of watching. This nice contraction pattern. Boom, we broke out. Look at the weekly time frame on this. Look at that. So we're seeing a breakout from here. I mean, this thing could easily go to $7. So this is one that I've been kind of been eyeing on for quite some time. And you're right, we saw this big squeeze out. Now we pulled back down. Now we're seeing a reversal candle today. Not too shabby over here in China. But you also got like names like Baba, right? Baba. This one we talked about on the last stream as well. And I love how it's consolidating here. I hope it does it for a little bit longer, because if I look at the weekly time frame, so you have your distribution phase, you have your decline, you have your accumulation phase, and then you start to see your early signs of a markup phase, bam, and then you have a bigger base right here. So if you're looking at this from the weekly perspective, this could be really really nice, especially if China names are going to continue to move. you might need to just give it some space to move, right? China names are really kind of all over the place sometimes. But overall, I mean, if this thing pops up just to these prior highs, we're talking 20%. And then if we get a full measured move, I mean, of this kind of like, pennant wedge, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, I mean, you could take us back up to 180 to 200. That would be cool. That'd be very cool. Okay, so there's that one. Arm's holding up, just a lot of sideways on the weekly time frame. The daily, it's slightly down on the month here. It came down to its lower monthly implied move, bounced up. So we're consolidating. We're consolidating. I would like to see price action get a little bit tighter and then maybe set up for a better risk reward. But this right here was a nice move. This little consolidation here into the lower monthly, holding above the 200-day, right? Because you're seeing still a series of higher highs and higher lows. Now I want to see, if this can hold and then start to break further. So it's good. Good to see that. KSS, what did this do? I don't know what this is going on over here. Is there like a bankruptcy or like a buyout or something like that? Meme play. I guess just a meme sort of thing. Latest meme stock. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what's going on here. I wouldn't really change my idea like too much on this. It looks like we just got a squeeze in Coles. Yeah, I'm not too sure. This looks crazy. Boom. That's insane. Yeah, anytime we see these big meme things, this is like, I put this in the category. When I see things like this, and it's just kind of like a squeeze or a short squeeze, I would put this as in the bucket of it's in play for like a short time frame, right? Like meaning that it's like in play for the day, like you can trade it. But setting up for like a swing trade, I don't know about that. Because I like to wait for price action to get coiled up and tighter. ARK, yeah, ARK. Yeah, CRISPR was looking good too, if I remember correctly. Where was I? Dang it, where did I go? Reddit, I think, was actually on the tight list this week as well. Yeah, Reddit's looking pretty darn good. You have earnings around the corner, but it broke out of this base, and now it's getting rather tight, just kind of consolidating here above a rising 200-day. So Reddit, I couldn't tell you about the company pretty much at all. I don't use Reddit, but this thing is just flagging out. So if this thing wants to pop, I mean, this thing could make a nice big move, and we're seeing a lot of those meme type names. I don't know if this is considered a meme type name. Seeing a lot of action out of there, so good stuff there in Reddit. MDB, it's buttoned up to its declining 200-day moving average. I think we're looking at it over here. Just a lot of chop, kind of going sideways. Not the cleanest look. ETH. Yeah, Ethereum has been doing great. So you look for pullbacks and look for consolidations. I don't like chasing up at these type of levels. Yeah, CRISPR. Yeah, CRISPR's looking good. Just look for the consolidation, right? So we saw a little consolidation here, and then it broke out. So yeah, it's just kind of in that expansionary phase here. So you want to see things slow down a little bit. CME. We got earnings. Well, CME has earnings around the corner, so just be aware that I can't really do much analysis until we have earnings, and you're looking at roughly maybe about a $14 expected move on CME Group. Overall, the chart's holding up well. You're just kind of going through this kind of sideways price action. Estee Lauder. Yeah, Estee Lauder looks good. This one's been consolidating up here, so that's good to see. All right, let's take a look at NQ really quick because I see some a little bit of movement here in NQ breaking down from its daily volume weighted average price here. ES back below 6,300. Take a look at Tick. Ain't doing nothing. Just look like probably just some of the bigger tech names are getting hit again. Apple's kind of coming in a little bit. Microsoft's at lows of the day. Amazon's near lows of the day. Google holding above daily VWAP, but yet that one's coming in a little bit here too. And that one's also at its upper implied move for the month as well. And then if we look at market net flow, it got a little bit more bullish, but it's still not that great, right? So we're seeing it kind of come in. This one's still going up. So perhaps we're getting a little bit of a shakeout move, but also it's still been kind of going sideways here, just chopping around in this kind of bearish flag formation overall. Okay. RCL. Yeah, RCL. A lot of these cruise lines have been looking good. Carnival, right? This Carnival has been going sideways up here, kind of consolidating. What about Viking? That was one that I've been kind of eyeballing for a minute. That one's holding up like very well. That's way up there. CCL. Yeah, so a lot of these are kind of just going, consolidating sideways. NVO. Novo Nordisk. I mean, healthcare is not really doing great overall. We're just getting a little bit of a reflexive bounce today. So I wouldn't put, all my eggs in healthcare right now. It's not looking all that great. It's probably going to take some time to heal. You're well below a declining 200-day moving average on Novo Nordisk. So yeah, you can see bounces, but even bounces, like we've seen multiple times, they've gotten faded. So just be aware of that in context of whatever trade you might be putting on. Home construction is up a bit today. So PHM was one of the names that I traded over here or over here. I can't really remember. This makes sense to me because they've been a huge laggard. So it's either like they got to resolve themselves to the upside and or the S&P 500 to the downside because that divergence can't hold for too long. We're getting some continued sell side here in the market. Let's see here. I want to pull up, see if we're getting anything that's extended. No, not really. I want to check. I got to log in and see here. All right. Yeah, my pretty pumped about the positions that I have on today. Like they're just like, it's great. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I have like 15 names on in my USIC account. And, it's just good breadth overall in the market. It's just tech is leading the downside. So if we looked at the heat map right now, you're getting a lot of positive breadth. So a lot of names are up. It's just the big tech stocks that are kind of really driving this marketplace. I mean, I'm not can't be surprised here seeing this happen because of just how crazy it's actually been. Like legitimate, it's been crazy how some of these names like Microsoft has been just a one-way ticket up, right? One-way ticket up. And it's still like a one-way ticket up. Like straight up, right? Buy, 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 buy. NVIDIA, same thing. Buy, 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 buy. So of course we're going to run into some pullbacks. That doesn't necessarily mean anything is broken. It's just, it needs to digest. So the moment you start getting super over bearish is the moment that probably the time to start fading it back to the upside. I'm keeping an eye on Circle here too, because Circle was one that we eyeballed a little bit earlier for a little bit lower levels. Yeah, this is a kind of a beaten down move on Circle. Okay, so let me go back to the comments here. Yeah, it's hard to get these minus 1,000 readings when we're in positive gamma, and then also you get rotations going on. Yeah, is net flow turning bullish? No, it's kind of just chopping around. I wouldn't really consider this bullish at all. Like, you want to see them really start to diverging and this start to pick up green to be a lot more bullish. But right now, what I'm seeing is chop. So what I'm seeing here is you probably get some, move down, move right back up. People get all freaked out. They flip on their positions. They go a little bit crazy. And, let me pull this back up. So yeah, we broke down from daily VWAP on NQ. Okay. And then we come right back up to daily VWAP, right? We're just still floating around 6,300 on SPX. We'll see if it can turn into anything, but market net flow for me, this is just chop here. Okay. I didn't go over CCI, Dan. I do have a position in it though. Let's pull it up. Actually, wait. Do I have a position in it still? Yeah, I do. Yeah, I have a position in CCI. I'm up 6% in it. There's CCI. Beautiful. Dan, you're the one that called the CCI out, if I remember correctly, right? Yeah, I have a position here, and then I have a position also in Well still. And Well, I'm up about 5% in Well. Yeah, so, yeah, great. Yeah, this was very tight price action over here. A good paying dividend, I believe, right? And then you have earnings basically right around the corner. So just be aware that you have earnings. We're coming into the upper monthly implied move as it stands right now, but great move on CCI. I'll probably, because of earnings, I'll probably reduce my position just a little bit here, and I'll just keep on the remaining because I'm up 6%. If I look at the trade tab, we're looking at about $5 or $6 expected move. I'm fine with losing $5 or $6 per share on this if I reduce my position a little bit. But yeah, real estate names have been doing good. I mean, this looks like, look at the 15-minute time, just consolidating up here at these highs. Yes, I mean, can't really get bearish on this. Nice break. And then Well is another one that I traded, I think around down here for an early entry. And this one is doing also quite well, no pun intended, and that's a REIT. CRM. Salesforce. Looking a little skeptical for me, right? A lot of lower highs. You're starting to see some lower, kind of higher lows. So price action is getting kind of tight up here, but it's below a declining, or it's below a 200-day. So it's not like the cleanest look for me for something like CRM. Now, I don't like shorting, but if I were to short, I mean, this looks like it could potentially break. I just wouldn't feel comfortable shorting, and I don't feel comfortable going long on CRM. On a shorter time frame, you're above a rising 5-day moving average. So if it can hold this area, maybe it creates, some shorter term trades. But for now, it hasn't really gone anywhere since, April. And it's just been putting in lower highs since then. Not my favorite look there. XHB. So do I think it's sustainable? I mean, I think it's possible, but just be aware that it's a declining 200-day moving average. So I think it would be more sustainable if it was a flattening to rising versus a declining. Because if you get above it and it's still declining, like, it's still showing you that the average is actually calculating down. So you get lots of pullbacks and, overthrows and stuff like that. So yes and no, right? So if you're really looking at home builders and HGX and you're like, whoa, why is it up so much today? Well, take a look at the 10-year yield. The 10-year yield's basically, boom, big red candle down, right? Look at these last couple of days down. So there's this negative correlation with rates, go figure, right? Lower rates, maybe you do a little bit better in the housing sector. Sometimes even solar, right? Solar, kind of solar section sometimes. So look at TAN up today, boom, right? So the fall in rates are beneficial to these type of names. So if you are bullish home builders, you probably would be, in theory, I guess, bearish rates. Or at least for them to stall out at some point, right? So you're getting kind of that move across the board. A lot of rate sensitive names, like rate sensitive sectors, are doing good today. So XLRE, right? XLU, right? Up at trading at highs today. Hood. Yeah, Hood is taking a breather, right? So this one came into its upper implied move for the month. Now it's taking a little bit of a breather. This is bullish here too. I just, now I look for the consolidation and see what happens, right? The earnings is around the corner, so I'm not going to put a new position on. I want to see things tighten up and see how it builds a base. Because after a run like this, you need to kind of build a base. What was D-Dog up to? Yeah, Datadog came back in to fill the gap, saw a little bit of a bounce back. This is when it entered into the S&P 500. KHC, yeah, I can look at KHC. Kraft Heinz. Yeah, it's below that declining 200. So the trend is down, lower highs, lower lows, right? Outside of its monthly, and we have earnings right around the corner. So as far as establishing a new position, not my favorite look because we have earnings and we're below some declining stuff and price action hasn't really tightened up yet. Maybe down here, I'd be like more interested, kind of like how Pepsi was, right? Pepsi was on the tight list. And I didn't trade it because of earnings, but now it's on the radar a little bit more. But this was looking really good. Pepsi was looking good, and then we kind of talked about how it was sold off so hard, so we wouldn't really be surprised to see earnings, whatever it was, right, actually still react positively. And we got a pretty decent move there on Pepsi. The Englishman in my ear. Oh, I'll pull him up. Yeah, my bad. There we go. There's the Englishman. Forgot to put the news guy on. Yeah, we'll pull up Meta. Meta. Yeah, Meta's actually consolidating, so that's a good sign. Right, we broke to new highs. Now we're pulling back. We're slightly down on the month, but we're just pulling back in, right? Flagging out, consolidating out. So yeah, it'd be awesome if we came down to like 677 and then came in like this and then started to break out from over here. Maybe it does it sooner. We do have earnings, right? Big earnings coming out this week and then also next week. So we have to take all that into consideration, and we'll look at what those expected moves are. I'm not personally gambling into earnings. Maybe potentially I might look into some earning option strategies here, and then maybe I might start getting into that and sharing some of the kind of my take on that. I don't know if I necessarily want to do that. It's not my. I just don't do that too frequently, but there are some pretty good strategies for that. Yeah, Goldman Sachs looks good. Just flagging, consolidating. Financial name, big break, and now it's consolidating. But yeah, longer the better. It consolidates for a long time, builds a base, perfect. I'll definitely take a trade like that. Cipher, Solana Treasury Company, STKE. Oh, is that what it's uplisting to? Yeah, I mean, I'll just wait to see what that looks like. Right now, it's kind of just all over the place. Illiquid. I mean, we're talking a couple million shares here and there, sometimes even under a million, but it's a $1 stock. So if anything like was to look like this, I look for these consolidations, right? You get a ramp up and then you get these consolidations and you can play tighter price action moves like such. Right now, it's kind of just straight down. So we'll see, I guess, if it does uplist, then it'll definitely have more volume, and then we can kind of go from there. Apple's irritating you? Yeah, I get that. Apple's kind of all over the place here, just consolidating sideways. But it's not necessarily doing anything bad. It's just not performing to the standard of all the other names. All right. So we're breaking from that 6,300 a bit here, still under it. NQ coming off a little bit more here too. Market net flow, but, not giving us much. More leaning bearish, but not giving us much overall. All right, I'm done there. I started trading my Tradeify Live account. I did horrible today in my Tradeify Live account. But man, my swing trading today was insanely good. New highs in my USIC account, my Roth account, my larger Interactive Brokers account. Pretty rad. Those trades came from a little bit of a move in Oscar. And then I still have UNH on, which I don't actually. That was kind of more of like a smaller, longer hold here, UNH, and this one has been kind of just dragging off, and I've been trading kind of around it. So even today's little move was actually quite nice. But honestly, it was nothing. So there's that, and then Roblox was just a huge play for me today. Down back into the monthly implied move. And now it's kind of creeping its little head back up right about daily VWAP. So I think I got out pretty much right at around here before sinking off a little bit lower. I want to go back in here and look at some of these individual names that I got on. So CCI, oh, I still have a little bit of TXG on too. I forgot about that. Let's pull up TXG. Oh, it ain't doing nothing. It's just kind of recovering a couple of days. That's kind of why I forgot about it. That's a small position. Dillard's, DDS. So this was, right, it's funny because I brought this name to somebody else's attention. They're like, is that still even like a thing, that store or whatever? I'm like, surprisingly it is. There's like one in Stockton, California. I don't know where else they have them. But price action, right? Higher lows into a pivot. Bam, we broke out. Bam, we consolidated. So I played it right over here. Saw a little bit of a day down and then bam, to the upside. So overall, really good look there on that breakout, but I'll probably reduce that position on this breakout because this was more of a shorter term play anyway. And that Ollie, I still have I have a decent sized position in Ollie still. I'm going to reduce that, but Ollie also, right, play this flag, had a day down, and then boom, right to the upside. I'm actually going to reduce a little bit of my Ollie. I didn't realize it was this big. I'm going to reduce a third of that. I still have Chef on. That hasn't gone anywhere for me, but it hasn't, done anything necessarily bad other than we have earnings around the corner. So I'm up in this position, but I've reduced the position because it's kind of just not going anywhere. So Chef overall looks pretty good. It's producing a chef. The Chef is pulling out the whole pot and pan pattern over here, the pot pan pattern. So it is looking good overall, Chef Warehouse, but you do have earnings around the corner. So I reduced my position pretty dramatically. So we'll see kind of how that plays and what that looks like coming more closer to earnings. So that's that account. Let me pull back up to my other swing trade stuff. Larger positions. Still have pizza on. Pizza, PZZA, Papa John's. This also has earnings coming around the corner. I accidentally slipped up and did a fat finger trade down here at the lower monthly implied move, just under it. And then I immediately, about 4 minutes later, sold it. 3 minutes later, I sold it for like $1 per share gain. It was a very fast, I don't know what happened there. Some sort of volume came in very quickly. And my trade was right before the volume kind of entered in. So I just kind of got out the bulk of that, which brought my average way down and put me into the money on the trade because it was just a fat finger accident. So I still have a position in pizza, and that's just doodling around its lower monthly implied move and that 200-day moving average. Mara, IBKR, yeah, we'll pull up IBKR and then Mara. IBKR looks good. Positive earnings move, right? We went. And this is great. We have this little bit of an early entry over here. Bam, we started moving higher. And now we have a positive reaction on earnings, and now price is kind of pulling back in. So this can kind of flag out, consolidate. This looks pretty strong here for Interactive Brokers. As far as Mara goes, yeah, Mara is holding up rather well here too, right? It's highly correlated to some of the crypto, and it's kind of just butting its head right to where we saw this prior supply earlier in the year. So it's not too far from a year-to-date high, right? It's just a positive sign, and it's kind of just consolidating here. Now, you do have earnings in a few days here too as well, right? This is earnings season, so you're going to hear me say that frequently. J&J. Yeah, I haven't seen. Let me see here. What's J&J been up to? J&J looked good. I mean, I wasn't on my radar, but earnings move, boom, consolidate for a few days very tightly, and we're seeing some follow through today. It looks like we're probably going to take this year-to-date high at about 170 here in the very near future. Okay. Let's look at Tesla. Tesla also got earnings here on Wednesday, right? Or is it today? I can't remember. 7/23, yeah, tomorrow. So the expected move right now is about $25 in Tesla. Holy moly. Yeah. About 8% move there in Tesla, whether to the upside or the downside, I don't know. But that's what it's pricing in as it stands right now. Pretty cool, man. Pretty cool. You're welcome, Gravity. All right, I'm gonna go through my tight list and see if there's any names that are setting up. I'm pretty happy with what I got on right now, given the context of the market. Let me see here. What did the market end up doing, by the way? Nothing. It didn't end up doing anything. Just kind of just doodling around. Just a little bit of doodling around is all. What's the likelihood of NVIDIA going to its lower monthly like this month? Very unlikely, I would say. That'd be a big move. There would have to be some sort of catalyst there. And we don't even have earnings this week for NVIDIA, right? So, yeah, going from here to down here, like 14% drop in just like a few trading days. I mean, that'd be a big move. There had to be some sort of news, like some sort of event. Like, right? Well, what was over here? This wasn't DeepSeek, was it? Or was this DeepSeek? No, I can't remember. But yeah, you would need something big for that to happen just by the month end. I mean, if we get continued sell side, maybe, at least to like break even on the month. But all the way down here, 15% drop in just a matter of a few trading days. It's not impossible, but you got to understand that there's a lot of people willing to bite at that if you start to see sell side activity like that in NVIDIA, right? Yeah, like the buyers aren't done here. They're looking for opportunities to get back in the position, get back in, especially after a run like this. I mean, I would, right? I would be chomping at those bits. Dow is off the COVID lows. Ugh, man, yeah, this is just in a horrible trend here too, huh? You got earnings right here. When is this? 624. You're looking at about a $2.17 expected move. I probably wouldn't be surprised if earnings reaction was to the upside, right? I wouldn't be surprised just because it's been absolutely and utterly brutalized. What is this company? This is a big company. Materials, infrastructure. Yeah, a lot of these names, man, just got absolutely just crushed and hammered. Enphase, yeah, we did talk about a little bit on some of the solar, and a lot of these names are doing good today because probably if you just look at rates, they're doing the opposite of what the rates are doing. So rates coming down, you get these names moving up. All right. Still have a position in Toast, T-O-S-T. No reason for me to really sell this. It's holding up. Race, that's down today. That is one of my two positions that are down today. I don't really have a reason to sell this because the position has already been mitigated in size. Still holding up. We actually hit a new high not too long ago, so probably just hold on to it, and maybe even through earnings because it's a smaller position now. It's like 1.7% of my portfolio, so it was reduced from like a 6% position pretty dramatically on that bigger move. RBA, I have a position in RBA. What is that? RBA Global. What size is this? This one also was reduced on a move higher. So we're a couple days away from the upper monthly implied move. and we just been pulling back, but we had a nice consolidation. Boom, we broke out, and now we're kind of pulling back through. If I was to get rid of anything, I mean, this is probably as low on my list of important names to have on right now, but it is still profitable position, and I took some profits, so I still have a position in Apple. That's up 3%. Well, through the Granite Shares ETF AAPB, but that's also a 2.5% position. Technically, I guess it's just under a full-size position because it's leveraged. VMC, this one's not doing much for me, but I'm still in it. Honestly, probably would be fine with just reducing this one too, because just to clean up my portfolio a bit. I'm just gonna dump it because I need to clean up some of this stuff. I'll just take it while it's up higher. But overall, I'm basically like flat on the position overall. I've been holding it for a minute, so I'm just gonna dump that one and we'll continue on. Okay, so Ulta. Geez, Ulta was a killer for me. This one just hit new highs today. I guess there's really no reason for me to get rid of it. Let's see here. I did sell some of the position, so it's like 2.5% position now. But I'm up 10% on the position. So it's pretty darn good trade. So where did I take it? Dang, I took it. I think either right here or right here. I can't remember. I think it was probably over here actually, because I was looking at after the earnings, the consolidation, boom, it went up higher, never stopped me out, and then it continued on. So overall, really good look there on Ulta with new highs, and I did exit some of the position. I'll just keep that one on. AEE, another position that I'm still on. This one I may reduce here as we just creeped into the upper monthly implied move, but very tight price action. Bam, broke right out. This is what I love, right? Contraction leads to some expansionary moves. Yeah, that's a pretty large, pretty decent sized position. So I'll just trim a little bit here on the sell up, and then if we get some sort of a pullback or consolidation, I can just add back in. So I'll trim a little bit, take it while I got it. If you have any questions about various trading strategies, individual names, just drop them in the chat and I'll get to them. I see a couple coming in like Airbnb. I did talk about VFC, I think. I just saw that there. No, did I not? No, I did RBA. Did I do VFC? I can't remember. Did I do VFC? I don't think I talked about VFC. VFC just kind of flatlined here. I can... maybe the higher lows building up to an extent, but we're all below the declining 5 days. So understand the context of the chart. It's not like the greatest, right? After the sell side and flatness, it's bearish. But if you were to shorter term trade this, shorter term trade it, you just got to keep that in mind. So when I approach this, I'm like, no, it looks really good. I want it. What I would do is it's going like if I go full size positions at like 6%, this would be like a 2% pilot position. And then if it goes in my favor, I'd probably get out a little bit quicker given the context of the chart. So looking at it, I'd say if I'm interested, I'll do it, but it's going to have to be smaller in size. And then I'll probably have to be more aggressive to get out. Whereas like I showed Ulta a second ago, right? And I sold into some of the strength, but now I'm like, there's no reason to sell it as we just hit new highs. Because that's, one of the basic principles of trend following is strong stocks typically get stronger, weak stocks typically get weaker. So with that in the back of my mind, you got to think, okay, if I approach this name, in a certain way, I'm probably going to approach this type of name in a different type of way, right? So there's a strategy for kind of either or there. Tilray. Yeah, a lot of the marijuana names, cannabis names are getting some attention now. Seeing some good moves. I think we talked about this the other day or something like that. A lot of consolidations happening. Now, obviously you got to be a little bit more cautious, right? Because just a move like from here to here is like 20+%. So you got to beta adjust those positions, because if you go too heavy on one of these positions and it wants to reset and come back down a little bit, you don't want to, get shaken out. But it is still below a declining 200-day. You're just getting some attention in them now. So MSOS, right? That one saw some, a nice move the other day. and now it's kind of coming back in a little bit. So this could be, you know, just to keep on the radar for a potential move higher. But overall, they're just they're bearish trends, right? This is one of the names that I do like was Glass House, but I think one of their, you know, warehouses or whatever was raided. So it came down pretty hard.
Here for Tesla TSLA, Elon Musk just posting on X that 230,000 GPUs, including 30,000 GB200s, are operational for training Grok XAI and a single supercluster called Colossus 1. At Colossus 2, the first batch of 550k GB200s and GB300s, also for training, start going online in a few weeks.
Airbnb, highs of the trading session today. Yeah, this looks good. Yeah, I mean, we broke out of this little downtrend, and now we're kind of going sideways here.
And on the Egypt
with higher lows.
To Axios, the US is to mediate an Israel-Syria meeting on Thursday to avoid new crises.
So yeah, Airbnb looks pretty strong, and you have a nice consolidation here, and we're holding above that 200-day as it stands right now. So overall, when you look at the weekly time frame, it looks like crud, right? It does not look good. But if you zoom in a little bit, okay, now we're above a 10-week that's inclining. Okay, there's one sign that's good. 30-week, it's trying to get back up here as we hold above it, and then the 200 or the 40-week is rather flat. So there's a lot of chop, so keep that in context, but then you're also getting a tight consolidation here. Okay, so you know where you'd be wrong is if it starts breaking down from either here and or there. Right, that would be the wrong, and then if it breaks out to the upside and takes out this high, then okay, then you could see a press higher. What did my wife think when I got into trading full time? Nothing really. Nothing really. I'm trying to think because it's been a while now. I don't know. So it's not like, so when you get into trading full time, you need like a buffer, right? You can't just like become a trader full time and not have any other sort of income or savings, right? It's a little bit too hard because then you have to like, then you start to spiral if you go through a drawdown, right? So I had, I built up quite a bit of savings, and the amount that I would swing trade was still relatively small relative to that. So I wouldn't like be put in like, I wouldn't risk, anything that would, put us in a bad situation is what I'm trying to say. I haven't like blown up my main accounts, and I don't plan to ever, right? I just don't put myself in that position to blow up my accounts, right? So, and then when I trade, like when I like started doing like the little prop firms here and there, like that, I just went on a big streak, and now they have me in a live account, which it started off horrible. I did bad there today, at least. And so we'll see how that goes if I just pull myself out a little drawdown there. And it's just funny because it's like I can't take that money out unless if I start doing good. And I'm definitely not going to probably take the amount that I got from sim funding from that. So I might have to try another one if I want to do that. But now my swing trading accounts, how I set them up on like days like this, like it's just a massive, massive, massive win for me on my swing trading accounts. So I can just pull some profits from there and so forth. So it's kind of like, it's just one of those, it's just finding balance, right? It's finding balance in just various opportunities, I guess. Because you're going to take your losses. You're going to take your licks. Oklo? Is it Okto, as you want me to pull it back? Okto? What is Okto? Maybe you mean Oklo. Oklo. Yeah, it's just, you're getting wider range candles here. So I like to see things tighten up a bit. So I prefer to see this thing tighten up. Right now, it's a little bit too volatile for me. I think NBIS was kind of trying to tighten it up here a little bit. It's kind of building this base. But also a little bit all over the place there too. Yeah, true balance. Yeah, you got to find balance. How about, can I look at UUUU? Yeah, so some uranium stuff. Yeah, these look very strong, a lot of volume. So moves like this, when you see this volume come in, right, you don't want to chase it, that's for sure. But now you watch for the consolidation. So I like to like pretty much get 7 to 10 days of consolidation. Like if I was to get a flag, so maybe I'd say, you know, day 1, day 2, day 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, whatever. And like flag out, right? Or consolidate or pull in and then, you know, do something like that. That's what I like to look for, but very strong volume on the way up. So now I want to see how this breathes a little bit, right? I don't want to enter here and then it come back down to here, 20%, and then gets, you know, get out of the position. I need better risk to reward. So overall though, definitely should be on the radar to keep an eye on for these consolidations, given the context of that very strong move, boom, with strong volume. Now, what I love to see is not only price consolidate, but I also like to see volume dry up down here too. So volume get tight, people forget about the name, right? Volume like this and a move like this gets it on everyone's radar. And then moves like this, the consolidations, and then the volume drying up is what gets off everyone's radar. They forget about it, and that's when I like to come in. BBAI.
Just want to be worth.
Yeah, same thing, same story, right? We talked about this on the last time I was live. Look for consolidations. It's too wild and too crazy over here, right? When did we look at BBAI? It was down here, like legitimately here, when nobody cared and nobody watched the video, right? It was probably on 5/7. I bet you anything. If you go to 5/7 date on my YouTube channel and go to the video and look for me posting individual names, you'll probably see me talk about BBAI down here. Either there or like down here or something like that. I'm pretty sure it was down here, right? Because you get a move up, you get a tight consolidation. Now you're way up here, and now you're getting just large range candles, and it's a lot sloppier type of price action. So I like this more. Now, if this goes like this, you know, and then dries up and gets tight, then maybe it opens up some sort of opportunity there. But right now, it's like, you know, it's a crapshoot. Where do I put in my position? Do I enter now? And if it drops down to this low, I mean, that's 15% drop. So I can't go full size position. If it bounces up a little bit, am I still going to stay on? Or am I just going to get out? That'd be an 11% pop. That's possible. But is it worth, like, I still have to be a smaller position because it just doesn't make sense for my style. Yeah, H Trader. I built that out, the code for my monthly implied moves. Which, by the way, if you're in the Discord, I have that coming out in the AsherBot. So I'm working through that now. So I'm doing some updates on the AsherBot where you can, I mean, on AsherBot right now, you can pull up daily implied moves, weekly implied moves. You can pull up premiums and discounts of options and see the history of it, where it's current 2 days ago, 5 days ago, 22 days ago. So basically today, yesterday, a week ago, a month ago. And you can kind of see if there's a discount growing or if there is a premium growing in the options there, which is basically looking at, it's just a very simple calculation of looking at the premiums there. And then you can also pull the 1 month average of the premium and the 1 year standard deviation. So that all pulls it up there, which is pretty cool, utilizing that stuff. But then I am including now, I'm going to be putting in the monthly implied moves so you can get monthly implied moves. And then I'm also adding another enhancement to it where if you want to pull up like the prior month or the month prior, you can look up other historic implied moves from a daily perspective, weekly perspective, and or monthly perspective too as well. Raw, how do I manage taxes across accounts? Well, some of them I don't even need to deal with because they're retirement accounts. But other than that, I have a CPA every month that looks at our stuff. So I just send it over. I don't deal with it. I don't deal with my taxes. I just have them take care of it. I'm not a CPA, so I don't deal with that stuff.
The metals listeners, according to the ICSG, the world refined copper market in 97,000 metric tons surplus in May 2025.
In May 2025. All right, so NQ. All right, we're back to the daily VWAP. S&P 500, right back at 6,300. No change there. We're down 14 basis points on the trading session. Chop day, market net flow, chop. Any thoughts on open? I mean, this is clearly a squeeze. I wouldn't treat it as anything else, right? It's just a squeeze. So this is one of those in kind of play stocks where you get some price action, you get a lot of excitement, but overall, yeah, I wouldn't be like swing trading this. Now, if we start to get volatility, maybe you can set up from a day trading perspective. But for me, yeah, no, it's too wicked and too wild on a move like this to think about doing anything from a swing trading perspective. All right, I'm going to pull up my tight list and quickly go through that on my screen here and see if anything shows up on my end. What is the name of that list? There we go. Okay. IREN actually was, yeah, that was kind of on my list there for a little bit there. Yesterday, though, kind of this blow off type of candle move. See how this one kind of consolidates here, but this is kind of, I think, would be in the crypto space, right? Renewable energy. Okay, my bad. Maybe not. Computer applications. I thought this was like a crypto related name. Could be wrong. But it was consolidating nicely over here. And then we kind of get this crazy blow off move. It's just right at its upper monthly. That one's kind of been on the radar. Let's see what that wants to do. Already talked about Carnival Cruise Lines. Some of these airlines also holding up pretty good, like Love, LUV. That one has earnings, though, right around the corner. Okay. This is one that we haven't talked about ever. Hasbro. This looks pretty good. We'll see what earnings brings here. Once again, there's a lot of these are reporting earnings, but this one's just been kind of consolidating here. NFG. Consolidating here at its upper monthly implied move. See how that goes. This is natural gas, I think. DKNG is consolidating nicely. That one was more of an early entry down here. Now it's just going sideways here. That was on the tight list. Gill. This is kind of interesting. This one consolidated here. We broke out on some decent volume, and now we're just pulling back a little bit. So Gill might be a setup here, where you go retest, you know, this upper candle up here, maybe even the highs. Gildan, that would be about a 7% move there. This is in consumer discretionary. Booking. Yeah. BKNG. A lot of these travel names are actually looking pretty good. Look at Booking. Once again, earnings right around the corner. Honeywell, also nice consolidation in Honeywell. Near highs. Earnings around the corner again. All the big earnings are coming out here. Going through the heat of earnings season, but another nice consolidation there. Oh, this is one that maybe not too many people know about, but FWONK, FWONK. This has to deal with Formula One, and this is looking pretty clean, right? Formula One, if I remember correctly. Yeah, Formula One Group, together with its subsidiaries, engages in motorsports business in the United States and the United Kingdom. And I'm pulling this up, and I mean, it just hit highs of the year. Maybe all-time highs. I don't really know. Yeah, not too long ago, hit all-time highs. This thing is quite a beast. But then we're just consolidating here, kind of flagging out. And earnings is, earnings is a little bit ways away, a little bit. But this one's looking pretty good here. This could be a name to watch for a move higher. CDNS, this is another good looking kind of consolidation. Earnings also right around the corner. CDNS, look at this little flag. That looks clean. So this one also just hit new highs not too long ago, right at the upper monthly, and then you have this kind of pulling in here.
And a bit further
like
here
this. I mean, that looks pretty clean, right?
Note the XAI goal is 50 million
Cadence
units
Designs.
H100 equivalent AI compute online within 5 years.
Pretty good looking. Let me see here. Can anyone trade from their Roth? I mean, I don't know. I can't speak for every single Roth out there, but I mean, I can. I can trade in my Roth. I have Fidelity. With my Roth is at Fidelity. Okay, so yeah, that one looked pretty good. We should keep that on mind. Yeah, Disney is also, like I said, this one's looking pretty decent, right? And a lot of these travel leisure names have been holding up pretty well. So even Disney, it's not looking all too shabby there. This one's NXT. Also, pretty clean look. So you get this volume move up, right? And then now volume's drying up, so people forget about it, but it came back into its upper monthly implied move. But also, it's kind of just consolidating here. Okay, dokie. Not too snabby. WAB, W-A-B. Another one, Wabtec Corporation. Just nice consolidation here. After a nice run up. What is this one? Is this industrial? Yeah, it's an industrial name. Sally Mae? Sally Mae? Who's Sally Mae? Is that like finance? Sally Mae sounds so familiar. High yields, I don't know. Sally Mae, I mean, this looks also pretty darn good. You do have earnings just around the corner here, but just a nice tight consolidation over here on Sally Mae. Uber finally took a little bit of a breather. Also looking pretty decent, right? Higher highs, higher lows. Now we're kind of pulling back here. So Uber's been doing good. Uber. Mercy. And another industrial name. Kind of just holding up in this tighter consolidation so far. Which would I enter considering we might get a pullback? Given the context of what we're seeing here, I guess it would be more like in the names that maybe have been getting less attention because we're seeing a rotate. I mean, if we get a pullback, it probably would come from the names that are like heavy in tech. So I'd probably try to focus more on the names that maybe have been just consolidating and haven't been given love, and maybe we just get the rotation into them. But I don't mind just starting a position in any of them, to be quite honest, and then if it doesn't work, right, I'm not going to put all my eggs in one of the trades. I'd rather just do a basket of all the trades if I'm getting more exposure, 1%, 2% positions if I'm just trying to get in early, and then add to them if they work out and cut them if they don't. It makes it a little bit easier, and it gives me a little bit better opportunity because some might not play out, some might. Right? You just got to be good with cutting them and not overdoing it. What is TRP? Trans Canada. I mean, it's just kind of consolidating here, but just I don't know. See what IWM's up to. IWM still holding up strong. ARC, somebody had mentioned earlier. Yeah, ARC's holding strong. Yeah, these things got to consolidate. Was an ARQQ kind of a quantum name? This thing broke right to the upper monthly implied move, came back in. Yeah, home builders. Yeah, home builders have been doing great today. They have to catch up at some point, right? If the market's as healthy as it is, you want to see housing go with the market. But this move is definitely coming off the back of, we said, off falling.
That is against yesterday's 214 billion.
Rates today. As a lot of the names actually were, rate sensitive kind of names are doing good today. All right, so the SPY is still kind of creeping itself back up over here. Cumulative net premiums for calls upticking slightly. We're flat on the trading session today. We're at the daily VWAP for NASDAQ. I'm going to check in once again on my stuff. Man, what a day. Give me 1 second here. I'm gonna check back in on Roblox. I might just consider cutting it now at this point because I did good with it today. I guess there's really no need for that yet. And Oscar Health, this one got people all messed up on this fall. So I haven't been into it until just yesterday and today. Because this selling, man, this was crazy. From here down to here was like 40% of a decline, breaking the monthly implied move. So if we get some sort of a rotation, it could very well be in just some relief in healthcare, which we're kind of seeing today. But like I said, on this stuff, I don't really, you got to still treat it within context of what it is. It's still in a downtrend. You're just getting a little bit of relief. And then tech is in a big uptrend, and it's taking a little bit of a breather, right? That's pretty much it. Apple's up 70 basis points on the day now. We're getting a little rotation into the name that's everybody hated. Actually, it's close to highs of the trading session. Google went positive on the day. That's not too far from the high of the trading session, but it's a little bit off. Meta down 1.15%. But, yeah. And Tesla's near its highs. CLF and DPRO. Steel names have been doing really well too. I would not be chasing steel names. I'd be looking for the pullbacks and the consolidations. All right. Is Cleveland Cliffs, did I mess up? Is that a steel name, right? Or no? Am I wrong? No, maybe I'm wrong. No, is it? It's materials name, iron ore. Maybe it's not exactly steel, but that's what I thought it was. Yeah, I would just wait for consolidations in these names after these big pops. DPRO. What is DPRO? Dragonfly Equity. Yeah, like a lot of the times we bring these names up are after the moves. I like to find the moves before they happen. So when they're way up here, like, how can you trade this? Like, buy it and hope that it goes to $10? Maybe. But, what if it drops a little bit more? Like, just move just down to here, would be like 20, 25%. So like I would just say you have to see these things consolidate, right? You want to get them tighter and tighter. Maybe then it offers up a better risk to reward where you know exactly where you'd be wrong and you know exactly kind of where you'd be right. All right. But right now I would say it's trying to consolidate. They just got a government contract. Yeah, okay. Cool, but I mean, usually the market prices that in, right? So it's not like it's new then. So now the market knows, so you just got to look for the consolidations and play it higher if it plays higher. Look at the weekly time frame, right? Hasn't really gone anywhere. So, yeah. If you get volume, cool, and then some consolidation, cool, yeah, because then the 10-week goes up, 40-week, then you can really, things like this can set up. But for me, like I can't go full-size positions in these things because I don't want a full-size position going against, like just down to here would be minus 12%. So I'd have to do beta adjust the positions to be quite small. And then I like to look for the consolidations, which I would consider this the start of a consolidation for sure. Yeah, it's a slow day today. A very slow day. It's not all that bad. I mean, we're getting back above 6,300. I mean, hold on a second here. Okay. Sorry. Responding to my wife. I forgot where I was. What I was saying. Oh, yeah. Pretty much slow day. Yeah, we're just chopping around. Let's look back and look at market net flow. Yeah, not giving us much, but the cumulative net premiums for calls did uptick, so that's a positive sign there. Shabba-dabba-doo. If we're going to start popping back up to the upside, I'll just pay attention to the upper weekly implied move. Sorry, not upper weekly implied move, upper week to date anchored volume weighted average price. That's where kind of my target would be here. Whether that's today or tomorrow, I don't know. Underneath the opening range with NQ. It's just a slow day, slow, boring day. I'm not really adding too much or doing anything to the portfolio either. I'm looking over at my USIC account and then my swing trading account. Both good. I did not do good in my futures account today. Whatever, I can try to build myself out of that. But my swing trading accounts just hit another all-time high today. So there ain't no complaints. I think that's where I'm going to kind of call it here because we went over so many different names and I'm not going to trade. I'm not going to trade anything else today. I just don't see the need to. Nothing's really speaking to me right now anyway. August 1st is on your mind. Yeah, you got some stuff coming up. All right, everybody. I'm going to call it quits here for the stream. I think we went over plenty. If the market wants to continue to rip higher, watch for that week-to-date anchored volume weighted average price. It looks like the market wants to go strike back for that. You can see NQ trying to break out of this range overall, holding above 6,300. Market net flow, it's choppy. It ain't giving too much, but you did see an uptick there in cumulative net premiums calls, which would be a positive sign. You said MP. I can look at MP pretty quickly. MP looks, very strong, but I would just wait for those consolidations, right? We're getting some consolidation here. I would like to see a little bit more of a base build after a move from 30 to 70, though. When am I next on? I do not know, but I'll try to post it on Twitter and or talk about it on YouTube the next time I'm on. All right. That is all. So toodaloos everybody. Okay, hold on. Sorry, I'll pull up a few names for you, generator. QS. Yeah, huge volume. You have earnings here right around the corner. So QuantumScape, I would just look for the consolidations. Like I'm not gonna like if you're in it, like that was a nice consolidation. Here it's just kind of all over the place, but a lot of volume. So I would be looking for the tightness to offer a better risk to reward there. ASML, didn't that one get hit on earnings? Yeah, I'm not. This was a bearish earnings move, so now we're sell side, right? So yeah, we can probably see some sort of a bounce back, but it'd be off the radar for me right now until we see, you know, what it might look like, or like some sort of a reversal type day candle, maybe red to green or a hammer candle or something like that to offer up an idea that we could potentially bounce. And then LOAR, that is actually turning back around here. And this one is outside of its monthly implied move. So yeah, there's a possibility that we might bounce back up, but keep in mind, you're below a 200-day, you're outside of monthly, it is tightening. So when I trade stuff like this, smaller positions, and I'm a little bit more aggressive to get out of it, just because of the context. Is open just dead? Open to me, yeah, I'm not, I mean, this was gigantic, right? Would not trade anything like this. Like this right here was a blow off move, right? So yeah, maybe we go test it at some time, but overall, like I would not be putting my capital at risk here. This is what I consider an in-play stock, meaning that volume came in, you can trade it, and if it turns out to a really good day trade, maybe you can convert it to a swing trade, right? But it's in an expansionary phase, so I don't want to get all caught up in this type of stuff. All right, mahalo. See you, Barkster. See you, generator. I did look at the 4Us. See you, Francisco, Jay Haas, Blind Squirrel, Comrade, Daniel, Curtis, Deardo, Pavan, Siddharth, Ali. All right, everybody. HT, AJ, TSI. See y'all. I appreciate you showing up. I'm going to call it quits for the day. Y'all be good.